Let's talk about PenFed loans. And right now, they are giving like a massive approvals. And in today's conversation, I want to share with you the freshest hacks, the best, most recent hacks that you can improve right now. You can implement right now to get approved real fast. Okay. So, boss, here are the steps I really want you to follow. So, if you want to get a PenFed loan nowadays, like today, you really have to run the numbers first and foremost. I don't care what the loan amount that you need, whether you need what you need a $50,000 or 25 grand or 10 grand. You got to run the numbers. Sit down, and I want you to run the numbers. Ask yourself, okay, I want 20 grand. Okay, and the monthly payment will be around $500. Can I afford this? Can I actually include an extra $500 in my budget? This is the conversation I want you to have with yourself, with your spouse, with your family members. So you got to really make sure that your budget has room for this extra 500 or 750 or whatever. Because see, the whole thing is, if you don't run the numbers, PenFed will run the numbers for you. And if they run the numbers for you, chances are they will ask you questions that you haven't thought about. So be very clear right off the bat. Be sure about the numbers that you want to get. Okay. And because sometimes when you want a loan, I mean, everybody goes through that. You want a loan and you just focus on the loan. But you got to think about how to repay PenFed back because they want to be paid too, right? I mean, that's just normal. They're not a charity. They want to get paid back. Okay. So, boss, by the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here as we're having this short convo about the PenFed loan, how to get a massive approval. Here are the freshest hacks I'm sharing with you to this conversation. Number one, run the numbers. Number two, you want to check your FICO score, but also you want to make sure that your FICO score there is no big delta, no big gap between your PenFed internal score and your FICO score. See, the FICO score, everybody knows you can go to annualcreditreport.com and just check your FICO score. But what you want to do here, you want to contact PenFed and ask for your internal score. Sometimes they will show it to you on your dashboard when you log into the dashboard, or sometimes you can see it through the app. But if you don't, just contact them. And you want to make sure that there is a large gap between your PenFed next gen internal score and your FICO score. Here are the pro tips I want to share with you, boss. The third thing I want you to really pay attention to is you want to consider your options. See, the whole thing is that PenFed is a great lender. Some people say, well, they're kind of stingy asses, whatever. Like they give you, I asked for $50,000, they gave me $5,000, and they really they're very stingy ass. This is the bad way of looking at it, or looking at things. PenFed will actually give you the loan you qualify for. Okay, and going back to what I said about running the numbers. See, what is your capacity? It's called capacity. PenFed nowadays is paying attention a lot, and we have proof. Everything we're telling you here, our own team members have gone through them and successfully. I mean, we get loans all the time, but also we have advised people to actually use the same strategy. Capacity is important. So when you consider your options, make sure that you have capacity to repay whatever you're asking PenFed to grant you as loan. Okay, and think about maybe having a cosigner. Like if your capacity is kind of low, let's say you need to show PenFed that, hey, listen, I can actually repay the loan. Maybe you want to have a cosigner, maybe your spouse, maybe another family member, somebody who can vouch for you. Okay, just make sure that the person really understands the pros and cons of co-signing a loan. Okay, but so what you do here is that you want to really beef up your application through a co-signer. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I am talking to you about PenFed loans, and I'm sharing with you the freshest hacks, the most recent hacks that we have uncovered when it comes to getting massive approval. Okay. And the thing is, when we talk about actually considering your options, one option that's really important that we have said time and again is to always update your income information. You want PenFed to know right off the bat, hey, listen, I'm making bank. Probably, 5 years ago when I started with you guys, I was probably making like 20 grand or 30 grand. Okay. Nowadays, I'm making bank, and I want you all to know about this. Okay, so you always want to update your income information in your dashboard, and it's very easy. You can actually go in your dashboard, and there is a section that says income information. Right there and there, right then and there, you want to put the right income information, or just go to a branch, or you can even call a PenFed and ask them to update your information. Here is the approach that I really want you to implement right now, boss. What you want to do here is that you see PenFed has like they have one installment loan, but within that installment loan, there are various types of loans, okay? And it's really important to choose your loan type, because PenFed is going to ask you what you need the money for. What is the use of loan proceeds? Okay. And this is something they have to do every time they actually issue a loan. It's not like they're trying to really, they're kind of being like they are eavesdropping on, quote unquote, on your life, whatever. No, they just need to know for regulatory purposes, but also for their own sort of, risk management, to know whether you are going to use the cash for, let's say, a wedding, an emergency, and whatnot. Okay. So when we talk about choosing your loan type, when PenFed asks you, just tell the truth. Do you need a loan for debt consolidation? Do you need the loan for a credit card refinancing? Do you need the loan for a home improvement? Do you need the loan for medical reasons? Like you have a medical loan, like a medical emergency? Do you need a loan for an emergency, like an emergency loan that is not medically related? Do you need a wedding loan? So the thing is, you have to be transparent, okay, and be ready to actually choose the right type of loan, because if they start probing you, if they start asking questions, you don't want to actually start ghosting them and not answer questions, whatever. No. So make sure that you are clear about the loan that you need and what you need the loan for. That way, if they ask any single question, you will have an answer for, and you need to have an answer for those questions, because they'll come anyway. Those questions, boss, you bet they'll come. Okay. So this is really important. One thing I also want to say here is that geography plays an important role. So, I mean, right now, like in the economy, the economy is a little shaky. Some banks are closing shop. I mean, the federal government is stepping in to actually, take over or seize. That's the proper word. Seize the assets of the failing banks. But the thing is that underneath all this whole thing, the same thing is happening with credit unions. They just never say it. Okay, so the thing is that PenFed is a stronger credit union. However, just know that in the industry, a lot of credit unions are struggling. Therefore, PenFed is really, I would say, they are tightening their loan approval requirements in some states. So geography plays an important role. Here is a bonus for you, boss. If you're still here and you're really understanding the whole thing, and another thing I want you to do here, another hack, is to actually shop around for the best personal loans. Okay, like basically you are going to the cool thing about PenFed is that you have the ability to pre-qualify. So you have a soft credit check sort of functionality on their website, so you can actually pre-qualify on their website. And back in the days, they used to run the PenFed line of credit nationally. Now they're running only in certain states, and it's an invitation only sort of program. But those two programs back in the days, you are able to pre-qualify. Nowadays, you can only pre-qualify for the personal loan, which is great anyway. Okay, so as you are shopping around for the personal loans, for the best personal loans, you want to, like when you go through the PenFed website, if you pre-qualify, if you enter your information, PenFed will give you several options. Okay, this is where it's good to actually shop for the best loan rates. Now, if you don't like what you have, you can actually seek another lender, and this works fantastically, because if you go to another lender and you get a better rate there, a better offer there, you can come back to PenFed and say, y'all, you're giving me 10 grand at 12%. Navy Fed is giving me 10 grand at 7%. Do you want to match that, or do you want me to bring my business to the lender? This happens a lot. Yeah, you can do this. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm having a convo with you about how to actually, like, I'm sharing with you the latest PenFed loan hacks, the freshest hacks, how to get qualified, how to, like, they have actually done a few changes recently, and so it's always important to share with you the latest hacks that really work. So it's good to actually tell PenFed, hey, listen, I have better offers elsewhere. Would you guys want to match it? And usually they will match it for you if you have a good relationship with PenFed in the first place. Next thing I want you to do here is to actually pick a branch, a PenFed branch, where you can actually go and sit with someone, sit with a rep, and sort of deepen the conversation before applying. The thing is that PenFed has is not that PenFed doesn't have branches in all states. However, they have this sort of co-arrangements with some states where some other credit union branches where they actually can see you. They can have somebody meet you at a branch, even though it's not a PenFed branch. Okay, or you can also call and have a conversation. This is important. Talking to PenFed before actually filling out the application remains important, because PenFed is really transparent in their loan processes. They actually will ask you any questions. They will answer all questions you have. Okay, so we love that level of transparency. You don't have that level of transparency with Navy Fed. You don't have it with the CCU, Consumers Credit Union. You have it with Connexus, but you don't have it with the other large players. BECU also has that level of transparency that PenFed has. So, long story short, you want to actually talk about your income. You want to talk about your household information if needed. You want to talk about your marital status, like are you married, are you single if needed, because sometimes those little pieces of information can influence your ability, can actually impact your approval odds. Okay. You also want to talk about your income. Yeah. If you remember earlier, I was just talking to you about updating your income information. So what will happen here is that your PenFed advisor, your loan advisor, will actually update everything in the system under your name, so that if you if you were to go ahead and really apply for real, PenFed will have the latest info about you. So chances are you stand a chance of being approved, because your FICO score maybe is better now than it was 5 years ago. Your income maybe is higher now than it was 5 years ago. So you have a lot of things going on for you. Okay, and it's always important to have a conversation, and anything that you discuss during the conversation, make sure that you get the final info in writing. So if the loan rep makes a promise to you, make sure you have it in writing. The next thing I want you to do, if you really want to get a PenFed loan with a massive amount, and they actually started paying attention a lot to the paperwork. Like back in the days, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, PenFed, I mean, they were okay if you just give them a pay stub and maybe your tax return. Nowadays, they want everything. Okay, so just make sure you have everything, and pay stubs, W-2s, your tax, your 1040. If you have a business, make sure that you also attach, like if you have a single member LLC, for example, just make sure you attach all the information about the business, so that you can justify your income, and you can say, I'm making more money. Okay. And they also pay attention a lot to your pay stubs. They pay attention to how long you have been working at the company. So this is a quintessential element for PenFed when they review your loan application, to see how long you have been working at a company, because this tells them that your employment is solid. And employment solidity is important, because it tells PenFed, hey, listen, if this person has been working at the same company for 10 years, chances are they might stay there for another 10 years unless they get fired or something. And for them, it's important, because if they're going to approve you for a 5-year loan or a 3-year loan, they want to have this stability. Okay. And so the next thing you want to do here is to accept the loan and start making payments. Now, if you get approved, One thing that's really important, if you get approved, and this is a hack that we just discovered, if they approve you, you want to ask for an increase in the loan amount. Let's say they approve you for $10,000, okay? And you can say, you know what? Could you please bump it up to 15 grand or 12 grand, whatever. You ask for a larger number. Why? Because normally, once they approve you, they are already invested in you. PenFed is already invested in you. And so it's kind of hard for them to backtrack and say, you know what? We want to approve you for 10 grand and we don't want to go. Like, the worst that could happen is they can say, you know what? 10 grand is our last number. We ain't going higher. Okay. But if you don't try, you'll never know whether or not there was a possibility for them to actually increase their loan offer. We have done this several times, and it has worked. I mean, 7 times out of 10, it has worked. So just make sure that you're not too greedy. Don't become a greedy ass. So if they approve you for 10 grand, ask for 20% more. Like, could you please approve me for 12,000, for example? It's easier to say yes than if you say, well, can you please approve me for $15,000? Like, you're asking for a 15,000 delta. That's kind of high. I want to share with you, before we close to this conversation, I want to share with you a few tips that we have actually gathered in the last 12 months when it comes to speeding up the PenFed loan application process. Okay, first thing first, if you are lucky to live in the vicinity of a PenFed branch, go to a branch. Things happen faster at a branch than online or over the phone. I know that PenFed has this sort of pre-qualification, this loan pre-qualification form online. Okay, it's all good, but if you enter your info, right, and you see the offers they actually gave you, what you want to do here is you want to basically print out the page that shows the different offers, the different pre-qual offers that they give you, and you actually go to a branch and you ask to see maybe the manager or a deputy manager, somebody in charge who can actually make a decision. So you show them you show him or her the what you printed, the pre-qual offers that you have, and start a conversation there. So they will actually let you know what you need to have to actually qualify for the loan. You have to fill out the application form, and right then and there, you also mention you can also bring your income information, your W-2s, your pay stubs. Okay. Also, make sure that you are constantly paying off debts. Trying to pay off your debts like a few weeks and months before applying for a PenFed loan. That way, you are basically reducing your DTI ratio. And there is an inverse relationship between your DTI ratio and your FICO score. And there is also an inverse relationship, though not established, but we have seen it. It's just based on experience. There's an inverse relationship between your approval odds and your DTI ratio. So the higher your DTI ratio, the lower your approval odds, and vice versa. You also want to think about, always have a backup plan. If PenFed does not want to approve your ass, think about maybe going to another lender. But you got to think about it beforehand. Don't think about it after you get denied. No, you got to think about it beforehand and say, you know what? What is my backup? What is my backup plan? What do I have? What do I have that will help me out help me out in terms of rebounding if a PenFed says, you know what, my application is rejected. So think about those things beforehand. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about PenFed loans, and I'm sharing with you the latest and freshest hacks that will help you get massive approvals real fast. So I give you the steps, I give you the pro tips, the approach, the bonus, and the review. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.